and you don't seem to understand. A shame you seemed an honest man.
After a non-stop weekend in Philly, I took a much-needed rest in the sleepy Wilmington, Delaware. And you might be thinking, what is there to do in Wilmington, Delaware? Well, not much. I kind of just went to the park, the riverfront, and I watched the election at a bar. I feel like Delaware is probably one of the most chill places for an election result to be announced. But I slept here at this historic mill where I was not supposed to, but I got away with it, and I woke up to this really nice view in the morning. Then I hauled ass to Baltimore, Maryland, where I, of course, had to do the Edgar Allan Poe tourism stuff. I went and saw his grave, and then I went to the museum, but it was closed, unfortunately, and then I went to Annabelle Lee Tavern, which is like a Poe-themed bar, and I got an espresso martini. Good vibes here. I loved all the decorations, and the drinks were all named after stuff he's written. Then I made my way down to Fells Point, where the bar where he had his last drink before dying, allegedly, is down here. It's called The Horse You Came In On Saloon, and you sit on a saddle when you're sitting at the bar, which I thought was kind of funny. It's just like a honky-tonk bar, but they did have this little plaque for Poe there, shout him out a little bit. And this is where I slept in Maryland, so I woke up and I was right on the water, and it was great. But people party here every night. I felt fine, I didn't feel unsafe, but it was just a lot going on at night. And then I went to the American Visionary Art Museum, and this was so cool. They just have a bunch of weird, funky art here. I don't really like going to a traditional art museum. I like stuff like this, and I really enjoyed it. And they even had this ginormous statue of Divine here. Divine is a Baltimore, Maryland legend. We love her. It was very sick. And of course, I could not go to Maryland without trying crab cakes, so we had some vegan crab cakes here, and they were bomb. Hello. We are currently getting ready to go to the park and ride and catch a train into DC. I've been very confident in driving around cities so far, but everything told me not to drive into DC and to take a train, just for the sheer fact that there's a lot of weird parking rules in DC, and I am going to be a tourist and do the monuments, so it just is easier to take the train around DC if you're doing, pretty standard stuff. I'm just going to save the hassle because it's really easy to take the train in. I'm in Alexandria right now, and I can just do the park and ride here. So I'm going to do that and check out all the monuments. Sadly, this is one of the last things on my must-do list before I head back. It is November 10th today, and I need to be back home by November 16th. So originally I was doing Maine to Florida, and I was so confident in that plan. Obviously things change, and I had an open mind that my plans might change over time. Especially with the hurricane. When the hurricane happened, I was kind of I don't know if I'm gonna be going to Florida, because even though where my grandma lives wasn't really affected, it was still just crazy chaos in Florida. So already I was kind of thinking, I don't know about that. And then I got caught up in New York. I stayed there for 3 weeks. I was only supposed to be there 2 weeks, and now I have to go back a week early. Originally I was going to go back the week of Thanksgiving. I'm going back a week early because my grandparents on my mom's side, they are doing an early Thanksgiving, and I have not seen my grandparents on my mom's side for over a year, if not more, because they moved really far south in Missouri from us, to where it's really hard to go down there. It's 5 hours of driving total if you were going to go down there and back. Especially when I was living in the city, that was even further. That was an extra hour of driving both ways. And you know what, I'm full of excuses, but to be real, working a full-time job, driving out that far, it is really hard. Our family does holidays on the same day as them, so our holidays don't even really line up. So that's why they're doing this early Thanksgiving to accommodate. It's very important to me that I make it there, I see them, and just make time for my family. And it's a bummer that I didn't get to do my entire trip the way that I wanted to do it, but I've just made so many good memories and seen so many new places. It's like, it's a success to me. I'm just happy that I have the opportunity to do this at all. Okay, first off, the train for DC is so much cleaner and futuristic than the ones in New York City. So that blew my mind right off the bat. And then, yeah, we did the National Mall and we started at Library of Congress. And Library of Congress was my first stop and tied with the Natural Museum of History for my favorite thing I saw here. It was just so stunningly beautiful. And the best part about DC is pretty much all the tourist spots are free. How cool. Pursuit of knowledge, free. But yeah, saw the US Capitol, and then I only went to the sculpture garden for the National Gallery of Art. And just look at this. It looks even crazier on camera. So cool. Then we arrive at my second favorite spot on the tour, Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. I love animals. I love like the history of evolution. I love all this shit. And they have the Hope Diamond here. And I was obsessed with the curse of the Hope Diamond when I was a kid. May or may not be cursed forever now after viewing it. We'll see. If I die from a cursed amulet, you know what? That's pretty badass. I'm okay with it. All right, y'all, if any of you have seen Monument Mythos, I had to insert the reference here. It's all I could think about. But the sun was setting and it was making everything look extra nice. And, you know, I thought it was going to be so crowded and crazy because this was like the day after the election or something. But no, it was pretty chill, honestly. Yeah, I saw the Abraham Lincoln Memorial, and then the White House was so blocked off. So I went to this rooftop bar to view it, and I spent $30 on that. I had no idea it was going to be that much until they told me to pay, and I didn't want to look like a brokey, so I swiped my card. But yeah, and then I went back and went to bed for the night, woke up in Alexandria, and decided I would spend the day exploring Alexandria. Went to the Spite House, which is supposed to be the narrowest house in America. Very cute. I would live there, you know, historic tiny house. I went to this adorable cat cafe that was in town, hung out with these dudes, and also had a conversation about warrior cats with a girl that was in there. Very pleasant. And then I just popped into some of the shops. I love this overpriced stationery store. So I didn't buy anything, but it was nice to look at. Yeah, I highly recommend going to Alexandria instead of directly to DC. The town's cute, and it's literally like a 20-minute train ride to DC. So then after this, I drove to Front Royal right outside of Shenendoah, parked right outside this super cozy coffee shop, and just did some editing before I hit the hay.
Good morning, y'all. I'm so sleepy. I actually woke up early today so I could get a jump start on Shenandoah because sun sets at like 5 o'clock these days. So I'm gonna get ready, go into the coffee shop right outside my doors, and hopefully perk up.
When I got to Shenandoah, I was pleasantly surprised to learn that it was a free National Park Day, so I didn't have to pay shit. Veterans Day, free National Park Day. I had no idea. Very cool. But yeah, I pulled off like a million times in this park, and I even did a little hike while I was there. It was so gorgeous. My only thing is I wish there was just a little bit left on the trees, but other than that, how could I even complain? It is so beautiful there. Just so you guys can see this is what driving through Appalachia on the like main highway at night looks like. It is so dark and you're driving through mountains. Appalachia is crazy. It is crazy. I love this region. West Virginia is my favorite state, but oh my gosh, I forgot how just dark it is when you drive. Alright, I woke up at Love's Travel Stop. Potato, egg, and cheese, That's my go-to breakfast if I wake up at a Love's. And I tried the new Red Bull. And here's the thing, I knew I wasn't gonna like it because it's blue. I don't like blue flavored things. It tastes exactly like a box of purple and pink Nerds, so if that's your jam, you'll really like it. Not for me, but I wanted to try it. I heard it was really good. I personally knew I wouldn't like it, but you gotta try the new flavor. Ideally not how I'd want to kick off my morning with some Nerds flavored energy drink, but it'll get me there. Look at the view from the truck stop. At night it's kind of scary, but it's awesome. It's so gorgeous, and I kind of like that has like a spooky factor to it. But yeah, I'm going to head to the New River Gorge National Park. I'm trying to go to like 3 national parks on my route back home. I bought those little like journal books you can give to your grandparents, like tell your story. And I hope that they use them because they're my mom's parents. My mom's not around anymore, and I don't really know too much about them. I don't get a chance to see them very often. So I would love to like know more about them and their lives, and also probably hear more about my mom too, like raising her and what that was like through the journals if they use them. I think my grandma will. I don't know if my grandpa will. If my grandpa fills anything out in his, I bet it's gonna be my grandma writing it down for him. But anyways, I have like 4 days to get all the way back to Missouri. That's plenty of time. Like, it's a 10-hour drive. I could do this straight, but I want to stop along the way and hit these national parks and shit. So I'm just gonna get going. It's hot. I'm in direct sunlight. Even though the view is beautiful, I don't want to stay here for any longer. It's so interesting, like, walking the trail, because there are other people out here, like, there's cars parked in. In fact, I just walked past 2 people, but you can't hear anybody. Like, they were right around the corner, and I could barely hear them talking to each other, and that just, like, shows you how dense the forests are out here in the Appalachia region. And it's cool, but it's also, like, a little spooky. I can definitely understand why people would not want to be out in the woods at night around here, but I digress. I love the region. I'll keep talking about it. West Virginia is my favorite state because the natural beauty of the Appalachia region is just stunning, and like the railroad system that goes across the whole state makes each town so cute. Every town is a railroad town and just has like this preserved in time feeling across the entire state because it's so isolated. The forests are so dense. A lot of communities, you have to really go out of your way to even find a store, you know? And even if you do live in like a more urban area of West Virginia, that's not really saying much. Like, it's not like a real city ever. And so yeah, like, that's a big reason why everything is behind the times in West Virginia, but at the same time, it's like, it's a lot more natural and wild out here. Wild, wonderful West Virginia, literally. But it's like preserved. It's like a preservation of like the way things used to look. And I think that's really cool and quaint. And I just love the style, how everything looks. And looks aside, we're not judging a girl by her looks. Yeah, I have a lot of personal memories here. I am the Holy Trinity, man. I am Missourian, West Virginian, and Floridian. That's where all my family lives. So I spent a lot of time in West Virginia, and I love these woods. Like, I'm not scared of the region at all because we would always go and play in the woods, and they were so much better than my woods. Like, they were just awesome. Where my family lives is right on the Ohio River, so we would always have river days, and they also were right on the railroad, so you could jump from the train bridge into the Ohio River Canal that went along their house. And it was just so fun. And like I mentioned earlier, like people just get up to their own type of fun in West Virginia. It's like there's not a whole lot to do, so people are really creative. And even though it's like it is really strict legislation out here, it's also kind of like a lawless state because people just kind of do whatever they want, and there's not a lot of people who are out there able to see it because everything's so isolated, and nobody really cares what they're out there doing in the hills. So you can kind of get up to whatever you want. It's just a lot of fun hanging out with my cousins and their friends and just like doing crazy shit for fun because there's nothing to actually go and do. So like, yeah, a lot of personal memories of just like having tons of fun out in West Virginia. And like, I like spooky stuff, I like horror, I like weird shit. So it was also really fun for me to be out here because yes, weird shit does happen. I've never been in West Virginia and something strange not happen. Nothing like terrifying that would make me like traumatized or anything. Just like weird shit that makes you kind of be like, I don't really know what that was, but okay. You kind of just don't think twice, because at least like if you're from here, if you have family here, it's like it's normal. Now I know everyone says that, but it's true. It's just like I don't know, who cares. My favorite thing ever is when I get to the main overlook and I'm the only one there. It was so nice. I got to take it in all by myself, completely carefree, to videotape myself and just hang out as long as I want. And then I got food at Fayetteville right outside the national park. And then the next morning I was on the hunt for a vegan pepperoni roll and I found one, but oh my gosh, was it gross. Some things are just not meant to be vegetarian friendly. And finally, the last national park on my road trip home is Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky. And this cave definitely lived up to its name. It was huge. I did like the general tour and it was still like 2 hours long. It was huge. But personally, I love any excuse to go and explore a cave. So I had a blast. And then the parking lot, I met an old lady who stopped me and she was like, hey, I think we were neighbors last night at the Planet Fitness. And I was like, no shit. And we got to talking and she was doing SUV life for retirement. And we just had a really wholesome, cute travel conversation. I love meeting folks that way. So I definitely left the road trip on a high note. And then I got back to Missouri, saw my family, and I've just been nonstop going. I truly haven't had a single beat to edit anything, even though I've been in Missouri for about a month now. It was just been nonstop. I started work the day after I came home. I've been reuniting with everyone, doing holiday shit, you know. But yeah, for the duration I'm home, I'll probably be focusing more on fashion content, like hobby content, maybe like van videos here and there. But I am so excited to do more road trip videos in the spring. And thanks for everyone who tuned in on this journey, my first journey. It's been so fun, such amazing experiences all around, and I'm excited for new ones next year. Thank you, and thank you for my small little subscriber count since I started this channel. I'm just rambling now, but peace out.